the Ashes of Creation Alpha 2 timeline and all of the events leading up to it. Make sure to watch to the end.
Hey, what up, boys?
What up?
So, instead of following this month's live stream up with some feedback and my impressions, I thought I'd throw all that aside and talk about the reveal that we all actually cared about.
Okay, we're here for it. Let's go, Narc.
Alpha 2 arriving in 2024. Finally, an actual definitive timeline to expect this highly anticipated testing period.
Finally, guys. After 2 years since Alpha 1, we might actually get Alpha 2. Are you kidding me? This is exactly what we need. We need some hype. We need some play testing and reviewing and video creation and more content around this game. We need more hype around Ashes of Creation. And I think we're finally going to get some with Alpha 2. It's going to be fantastic, I hope.
I've attempted to make many videos trying to tackle this question using various pieces of evidence, but no longer! Now, half my clickbait has been stolen from me, but that doesn't matter anymore because we're live pretty much every day over at twitch.tv/Narciverse to discuss all things Ashes of Creation.
Well, don't worry, Narc, don't worry. There's always more clickbait just around the corner, just over the horizon. Just keep your eyes peeled, and I'm sure it'll present itself to you.
And hey, we're currently playing the New World expansion to see if it's still garbage. Spoiler, yes it is. But before we get into that, our beautiful patrons and coped out the wazoo Twitch subs and I would love for you to... I don't know where it's gone, I've lost it. But grab yourself a... Coca-Cola, because today I want to do one final video predicting the time frame for Alpha 2 using all the currently gathered evidence up until this date.
Okay, let's hear it. I would love to hear it. I want to know what's going on. Give us the most precise that you can, Narc, or we will all be incredibly disappointed.
Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin, shall we? So I think I'll start today's video talking about Quarter 4, because I suspect a majority of people are expecting Quarter 4 as either a defense mechanism to protect themselves from disappointment, or because it's a funny meme to say it's December 31st. But
I mean, Quarter 4 usually makes sense for game releases, game timelines, because it's a hype season, right? People want something cool during the holidays. To look forward to, Christmas time, whatever. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense. But for an alpha, does it have to be Quarter 4? I don't know. Really, for an alpha, I feel like it could be any time because it's not the release. It's not the full release of the game. It's not the time period for people to be primed to be spending money on a game. You know what I mean? I don't know. It feels like it could be any time unless it just happened to fall conveniently on Quarter 4.
I don't actually think it's currently planned for Quarter 4.
Yeah.
And allow me to explain why.
Okay.
Back some months before Alpha 1, Steam gave us a date for its official launch. Everyone was pogging out the wazoo, and some people, including myself, booked multiple weeks off work in anticipation for it.
Don't do that. That's a horrible idea. What he's talking about right now? What? Who does this? There's no common sense that goes into that decision making. Like, just because they give you a date, it's an alpha. There's a reason it's called an alpha. It's very, very early in the game development. Like, things can go horribly wrong so fast. I would not bank on this date and then take off a month of work expecting that this date would come through, and then for some reason it takes 3 more months or something like that. Like, that's crazy to me that people actually did that. Whoa.
Right. However, due to some unforeseen circumstances, aka Alpha being an alpha, the team ran into some pretty heavy problems due to networking and had to delay the alpha by a month or 2.
Exactly. This is exactly my point. Oh, man. And taking off a month or 2 or however much you can of work just for this, and then realizing, oh crap, I just wasted all that time off because now it's coming out a month or 2 later, that is just bonkers to me.
This threw everyone off immediately due to the sensitive nature of Kickstarter MMORPG scams, and to this day, Intrepid are still feeling the sting of distrust when it comes to dates.
This is why you don't promise dates. Just don't. Not until you have something concrete, and I mean like 98% concrete at least, you know? Like they should be so ready that the only thing left they have to do when they announce their date is like, oh, we want to play test just a little bit more to see how many crazy bugs there are. You know, but in general, we've tested like 98% of everything and it's all good. You know what I mean? Like it just makes no sense to promise on dates when you're not ready and then have things go this wrong where you're a month or two off. Like, yeah, I don't know. The date promising thing definitely gets me. They need to get better at that for sure.
Well, it's been 2 years since then, and Steven has said on multiple occasions that he has learned from his mistake back in 2020 about giving definitive dates, and this is something they've promised not to do anymore. And that's where Q4 comes in. The reason why I do not believe Q4 is the current internal plan is because of unforeseen circumstances. If they really did have an internal roadmap that would set the Alpha 2 up for a Q4 release, there would be far too much risk of some unforeseen problems pushing it beyond the already announced 2024 release.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's just too close. Like, they've already said 2024, leave it at 2024. And even if they mean Q4 in 2024, whatever, just leave it. Leave it general 2024 until you get very, very close and you're very certain that you're ready for the alpha. And then, you know, maybe a month before or something like that, give the announcement, hey guys, we're doing the alpha next month. We're finally ready. It's all good to go. Like 100% ready. And we're just doing final like play testing in case there's any extraneous, you know, little bugs that we want to take care of before. Yeah, it drives me crazy. I don't know.
You think Intrepid are willing to risk another date pushback after spending years telling us that they won't, then you, sir, haven't been sucking in enough of the copium, and I suggest you increase your daily dose by at least 30%.
No, 40%. I'm taking 40%. I need absolutely more copium. You're right, Narc.
Now, the safe bet would be for me to, of course, say, well, I think it'll be sometime in Q2 or Q3. But you know what? Let's not jump the gun here. Let's stop and think about this for a moment and really consider what we've seen and what we're yet to see when it comes to the core systems available in Alpha 2. Aside from the fact that we have absolutely zero definitive knowledge of what we're going to get in Alpha 2, the only thing we've got to go off is the monthly livestream showcases.
Right.
As much as people seem to think that they are, the monthly streams are not showcases to sell the game. These are important systems that the team are looking for feedback on specifically.
Right, yeah, this is a very community-driven project, and so, yeah, the whole point of these monthly showcases, they just want this to be in people's eyes and in people's minds, and for people to be processing this stuff and giving them feedback so that they can implement those different things or changes or suggestions in the game. It's a constructive system.
Therefore, what we see isn't technically indicative of what they have finished.
Right.
Not even close. And that may sound like copium, sure, it probably is on some level, but with them publicly giving us a year the Alpha 2 is planned, it very likely means that they're confident with the current state of their Alpha 2 client.
Yeah.
There are some minor bugs that we see during the streams that appear to be networking related, but that's perfectly okay. Alpha is an alpha after all, and ultimately Alpha 2 is a testing period to hone in on some of these issues.
Yeah, I mean, especially under load with tons of players, you're going to get a really, really good idea of how, like, this lag issue or, you know, whatever, stuttering and jumping and things like that. You're going to get a way better idea of kind of like, okay, what do we need to be ready for? What's going to be our average load versus our highs versus our lows? And you can kind of gear your servers around that. It's all really smart stuff. And it all makes sense to be doing in an alpha. So it shouldn't be something that's unexpected.
So what does this mean for a date then? Well, as I said, Q2 or Q3 would be a safe bet for today's video. A lukewarm take that would warrant Asmongold level IQ, but...
The Asmongold reference, we got it, guys. We got an Asmongold reference. There we go. Hey, Asmon, if you're watching, you know, thanks, I guess.
I actually think that Alpha 2 is currently planned, internally at least, for Q1. And it's not because I have insider information that confirms it. No, no, no.
And it's not, definitely not because of the massive, massive copium addiction that he has. Definitely not at all. No, yeah, I mean, I guess I could believe that. It almost makes sense because when you throw out 2024, after doing very, very heavy live streams all year 2023, and it being 2 years since Alpha 1, it does kind of feel like throwing out 2024 means like, okay, we're gearing up for 2024, meaning the beginning of 2024. Maybe. I mean, that it's a stretch of not even logic, just feeling of what I'm getting out of this, but it kind of makes sense to me.
No. It's because what I see currently during the live streams is a very playable game with a gameplay loop that is perfect for us to test those core systems.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah. And yeah, just going off of that logic, right? You see a playable game. Like, it might not be perfect, it might not be polished, it might still have bugs or lag issues, network issues, right? Like he was just talking about. But it's a very playable state. There's a full gameplay loop that you can experience here. And yeah, it doesn't seem unreasonable to say, well, since things already look so good after all of the most recent live streams, why wouldn't it be playable by Q1 2024?
It's just missing one thing: content. Back during the recent official Q&A, Steven spoke extensively about what is holding them back currently for the Alpha 2.
So as we kind of accomplish setting up each of these zones incrementally, different parts of the team come and touch the zones at different points in the pipeline.
Yeah.
So first, environment kind of gets in there and they set up the terrain and kind of the...
By the way, this video quality, absolutely abhorrent. Holy cow, Narc. Come on, man. You can't get some higher quality video?
block out for all of the level design across that particular zone in conjunction with the level design team. And then once those kind of areas are set up and the POIs get blocked out, that's when narrative teams start assigning quest locations, quest markers,
okay,
and setting those up, while nodes is kind of setting up the base node areas as well.
It's the goddamn content that fills the world.
Right.
With the three main pieces of content delivery now publicly shown to us, that being the questing UIs, the story arcs, and the event system, now it's just a case of taking our feedback for those systems and then implementing the plethora of content that they have planned. Ashes of Creation has...
We need the content, Ashes of Creation team. Give it to us. We're primed and ready.
Always been a game that is built through a modular system, and it's the creation of these systems that we've been witnessing over the last 12 to 18 or so months. This month, it confirms that the final piece of the puzzle is done, and with Intrepid hiring Elder Scrolls' former lead writer Wayne McLaughlin over 2 years ago, I suspect that they've got the majority of these quests and this content finished and ready to implement.
They've got the man, and he's been writing. He's had his nose to the paper with pencil, and he's been hard at work. Or so we hope. And we hope it's good. I am certainly huffing the copium, but I really hope it's good.
The team constantly talk about milestones and sprints being completed left, right, and center, and I suspect the final milestone leading into Alpha 2 is the implementation of all the currently planned content. Sure, we still need to see the Rogue in a live stream, we still need to see the Bard, and we still have a couple of other important systems like the Caravans.
I do want to see the Bard. I'm actually kind of excited for the Bard. I want to see some crazy buffs. I want to see the Bard just be the absolute utilitarian that cannot be beaten by anything else. Like, I don't know. I just really want to see a cool Bard.
Coming up soon, but aside from these three, everything else is pretty much ready for the Alpha 2. The desert trailer back in 2022 confirms that they have multiple biomes finished, and the talk about them moving into the Redwood Forest in December last year, a biome that is apparently not going to be available at the launch of the Alpha 2, is a pretty...
Redwood Forest? That just sunk in. What? Oh my gosh. I love the California redwoods. I absolutely love them. There was a period of time where I lived in that area, and it is such a near and dear memory to me. I went back through there recently, drove through, and just seeing those trees again it just sparked this really strong sense of like nostalgia and like almost sadness, like pain almost. It was insane just from seeing these crazy huge old like majestic trees. Oh man, I love the redwood forest. This is so cool that they're adding a biome called the redwoods. Like what? That's even more so. I'm playing Ashes of Creation.
Pretty solid indicator that the team are satisfied with the state of their Alpha 2 locations,
Yeah.
and that was well over 10 months ago. I could go on forever about how much of the hard work is already finished by showing you hundreds of 3D models that they've already created to flesh out various points of interest,
Right.
dungeons, nodes, and enemy factions. But
Hey, they're already doing like 5 times better than New World because I see actually different enemies. I see actually different enemies. In New World, that is one of my gripes recently. Playing back through, I've just been brushing up on New World because I was kind of excited for the expansion, right? Rise of the Angry Earth or whatever. And that is definitely one of my gripes with that game, is that the mobs are just basically the same. There's very, very little variation in the enemies. And it's kind of frustrating. Yeah, so it's just seeing these flashes on the screen of an MMO that's in an alpha state having more mobs than a fully released MMO gives me some hope.
done that pretty thoroughly in this video up here in the top corner. But there is one final cherry on top that I want to conclude today's video on.
All right.
And that's the date that they chose to end the Alpha 2 Q-Packs with. Stephen gave us a pretty interesting speech about how they're going to handle the upcoming date announcements, and I'll relay his speech for you before I continue my copium-induced predictions.
Okay.
As you guys know, we have reserved our announcement for dates until we are certain that we can hit them. We've been burned in the past with that. We took our lickings, we learned,
Like,
and
no
we
more
are
dates,
moving-
Stephen, until
Correct.
it's happening.
Yes, I've been a good boy.
Thank you. Thank you. You've learned.
And so as we grow closer to Alpha 2, we will give a definitive date. The next time you hear from us about when Alpha 2 is going to be, it's probably going to be delegated to a particular quarter. And then when we're probably a few months away, we will have the date in mind. But for now,
With this in mind,
That's way better. See, I think that's a way better system. Right. Like you said, when you're getting fairly certain, give us a quarter. When you're really certain, you know, like 2 months away from the date you have in mind and you're really, really certain you're going to hit it, give us the date. That's way better.
I think it is no coincidence that December to January 17th just so happened to be the final period that we can purchase a key in. Last year,
Yeah.
Intrepid disappointed us a little with a year in review that we were not expecting due to the previous year's livestream being the amazing Unreal Engine 5 reveal. This year, we have an extremely important date lining up with their end of year stream. So I'm expecting something a little bit more than just an end of year review.
It's going to be huge. Let's get excited. We don't even know what it is yet, but let's get excited. It's going to be huge. It's going to be massive. It's going to be mind-blowing, I hope. Yeah, I'm on board. Jump on the hype train with me, everybody. Let's go. Ashes of Creation. We're getting ready for Alpha 2. End of year is going to be insane.
The upcoming December livestream will be Intrepid's last chance to show the public what Ashes of Creation is capable of before the access to the launch of the Alpha 2 closes for good. I think they're fully aware of this and have been planning this out for a very long time.
Yeah.
This is why they're giving us showcases focused on feedback, not showboating, because they know their product is good. We can see it with our own eyes.
Right.
Ashes of Creation is looking better and better as the months go by, and
It's really surprising. It's really shocking, actually. Yeah, every time I see another video or live stream, it's like, wow, this is coming along. Things keep looking sharper. Like the world keeps looking cooler, and all these new systems and everything. Like it keeps getting me more and more excited. Like this is actually coming together. It's actually looking really good.
I, for one, think the Alpha 2 is coming much sooner than we expect. But
Yeah.
as usual, I am just one nerd, desperate for a good MMO, and
Aren't we all, though? Aren't we all? But hey, Ashes of Creation is shaping up to be at least a exciting prospect. And with Alpha 2 coming right around the corner, hopefully Q1, as we're kind of tentatively guessing at here. If it's Q1 2024, that's very close at hand. and we could see some really exciting stuff with this alpha. Some cool reviews, I'm sure. Awesome gameplay, I hope. And wow, it's really shaping up to be a really good contender in the MMO space. Ashes of Creation, everybody. Here we go. Well, what do you guys think? Is it time to get hype for Ashes of Creation? Let me know in the comments. Leave a like, a subscribe, and I will see you next time.